All right, good evening, everybody. I have your attention, please. Thank you. All right. So I know most of you in the crowd. For those of you I haven't seen before, welcome as well. It's nice to have you. My name is Matt Johnson. I'm the county librarian, and I'll introduce our event here momentarily. But before we do, I'd like to highlight an upcoming event that might be of interest to a lot of you in the room. We're actually going to have the noteworthy Yosemite National Park Ranger Shelton Johnson coming to speak here at the library on February 12th. It's a Wednesday evening. It'll be at 5:30 p.m. Registration is required, and I think seats are going to fill up pretty quickly. So we're going to have the registration available probably starting tomorrow. So you might want to call or stop into the library and sign up if you want a spot for that. We're super excited about that presentation and can't wait for that. So I want to turn the time over to someone very special. Her name is Anna Friedland. She has put together this Foothill Arts and Lecture Series, and this is the second year that we've done it. And it is such a joy to host this program here in our library. It has been one of our most popular programs. I hope some of you have had a chance to come to previous renditions of it. But we're super excited to continue this program into the spring. And I will let Anna, let's give Anna a real round of applause.
Yeah, welcome to our third season, actually. This series was developed to reconnect members of our community, to celebrate artists and their accomplishments and highlight local artists, and to bring enriching perspectives and stories into our lives. This is a Mariposa County Library program, and it's supported by the library, Mariposa County, and also the Mariposa Arts Council. Before we begin, please check that your devices are on silent. Good reminder. Okay, so today we have a very, very special guest, Ava Burns, a scientist, artist, musician, songwriter, educator, and community builder, has been living in our community for the last 20 years. In that time, they have written and recorded 10 albums of original music as a solo artist and also in various ensembles. They worked as an educator for NatureBridge in Yosemite for 7 years before transferring their skills to teaching music. In 2010, Ava launched the Beat Harvest, which I see some Beat Harvest fans in the audience and students. Ava launched the Beat Harvest music education program, which taught music to people of all ages in Mariposa and El Portal. Currently, they're a project director and lead teaching artist for the Mariposa Arts Council. Their goal is to teach people how to play music, but more importantly, how to use music to express themselves and also build community. So the first time I heard of Ava, everyone, the whole town was flocking to the River Rock for their album release party. And when the band started to play, the crowd erupted into unadulterated joy and dance. In fact, every concert of their band, later known as Bootstrap Circus, was like this, an outlet for community exaltation. The Beat Harvest performances were also jubilant community events. Ava knows how to bring people together, to connect to others, and bring them absolute joy. It's one of their greatest gifts. I am in complete awe of Ava's talent, genius, and generosity. The amount of lives that Ava has changed with their music, teaching, and friendship is tremendous. Thank you, Ava, for your rich contributions to our community and for making this world a better place. Let's all give a hand of applause.
Wish me luck. Thank you, everybody. I wanted to start with some music tonight because honestly, lecture is not really something, a little PTSD from my former life as a scientist. And so I want to start with some music, and specifically I wanted to start by playing some music on this instrument because one of the things that people talk about in the arts lectures that I Googled hurriedly after Anna asked me to do this is creative process. And I can't think of another instrument that really encapsulates my creative process as much as the Korg microkorg. And I play guitar mainly, but this instrument has been bringing me a lot of joy recently. So I just wanted to start by using this to talk about creative process. There's three things that I love about this. The first thing is that I'm not very good at it, and I'm not a keyboard player. No shit, said all the keyboard players. And so when I'm playing this, I'm very much in that learner kind of beginner brain, which is somewhere that I find really fertile in terms of creativity. Second of all, it's not an expensive synthesizer. You're probably nervous about I'm throwing it around right now, but it's actually very robust. It's easy to fix. I like to say that this is the Honda Civic of synthesizers. It's very dependable. It always works. It sounds just fine. And it's really easy to fix. I got it in a used music shop in Santa Cruz where I went to buy a nice guitar, but I tried all the guitars and they all sounded like guitars. And this sounded like that. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, it's cheap. It's not precious. And I think preciousness is really problematic to me in my creative process. I think when we get precious about things and we want to set them in stone and make them sort of classic and we don't want to play with them. So it's not precious. I can put it like this, I can take it on the bus and I can take it with me. And last of all is actually related to some reviews that I read of this synth online before I bought it. And they said, this is not a serious instrument. They said it's toy-like. And I was like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. That sounds great. Because what do with toys? We play with them, yeah. And so this has all these like buttons that light up. There's a thing called an arpeggiator with a nice big name. It has all these knobs that you can tweak and yeah, it's toy-like. And I love that about it because the most important part of my creative process is play. And play is something that, did I break it already? That was quick, isn't it? Let me try this. I think I know
it's just been a while.
It's just been a while. There we go. I know. That sweater though. Huh? children are really good at playing. And we have to be good at playing because that's how we learn to do stuff. By being playful and being okay, not being very good at things. So we do a lot of playing. Another classic sweater from my history. And it serves us really well. At some point as a child, you might start to hearing like, it's time to stop playing. It's time to start like taking things seriously. It's time you got a serious instrument. I didn't get that memo. And I'm really glad that I didn't. When I say I didn't get that memo, I didn't miss it. But my parents are really good at not giving me that memo. Not only did they never tell me to stop playing, they modeled play themselves. And they were always playing. They were always making stuff. My mum made all my toys. They were playing with words. They were listening to music. And I never stopped playing. And I got to be honest that it has served me pretty well in the last 20 years. I don't have any intention of stopping playing anytime soon. So I was trying to think about what to do with this. Like I said, I haven't done lectures before. And I wanted it to be useful for you, which is a funny thing to say, but I want to give you something to take with you tonight. And so I just want to go through these. I'm going to play my favorite minute from each album. So there's going to be 10 minutes of music spread over an hour. And just talk a little bit about what was going on when I made all of these. I'm a DIY musician, which means that I write songs, I perform songs, I perform multiple instruments. On some of these albums, I've played all of the instruments. I also am really into recording technology and production. So most of these albums I recorded and produced myself. So we're going to go on a little journey. Does that sound fun?
Yes.
Yeah. Is the right answer. And some of this stuff I'm really proud of, and I'll be sure to let you know about the things that I'm doing. And some of it, I'll be honest, makes me cringe a little bit. In the same way that you see a picture of yourself from the 80s with that hair and that shirt. And yeah, some of it makes me cringe a little bit, but I refuse to be ashamed of any of this. And I don't know, you seem like nice people. I'm going to address my inner critic for a moment, if I may. She's called Ava too, she's at the back. She's a piece of work. Ava, I reject your shame. I reject your shame about this for 3 reasons. First of all, I made a frickin' album, Ava. I wrote the songs, I performed the songs, I recorded the songs, I mixed the songs, I mastered the songs, I designed the label, I print them out and I stuck them on. It might not be Sgt. Pepper, it might not be Dark Side of the Moon, but I made a frickin' album. And what have you ever done other than sit there and criticize what I do? Number 2, no, I'm speaking. I'm speaking. Number 2, if you're gonna get good at something, you have to do it, Ava, over and over and over and over again. And when you do something over and over and over many, many times, you get some diamonds and you get some turkeys. That's just statistics. That's the way it is. And thirdly, Ava, and most importantly, every single one of these songs, there was a moment when that song had me skipping around the room like a girl with a new pony. Every single one of these songs, I might not feel that way about them now, but at some point, every one of these songs filled me with joy. And maybe if you had a little more joy in your life, you wouldn't be such a meanie. Thank you. I recommend you all talk to your inner critic that way. They respond well to aggressive feedback. All right. I'm a short origin story here. I grew up here, Peak District National Park in England. It's very beautiful. In high school, I got into music. I started playing guitar. I started writing songs. I was in a band. We weren't that good, but we had a great time. And around that time, my teachers gave me some advice, like teachers do, and that was like, yeah, this music's great, but you better have a plan B. My plan B kind of got a bit carried away, and I ended up with a PhD in ecology, which was really hard. I'm like, super boring. But it got me a job in Zambia, in Southern Africa, and this was my kitchen, and this is my dining room, and the elephant in the room is an elephant. And Zambia, if you haven't been, I highly recommend it. Talking of exotic creatures, I also ran into an American, and that went really well. And next thing I know, I live in El Portal. If that was a Marvel, they would have spun that out for a whole movie. But we want to get to some music. So when I moved here, this sort of like music that had been literally playing in the background of my life, I just, for a start, I just felt really empowered that I'd made some big choices in my life. I'd emigrated twice to different countries. I hadn't died, and that miraculously. And so I was filled with this feeling of possibilities. I had new love in my life. I had a new community, and I lived in this place that was incredibly supportive of music, which is great, still is supportive of music. So what I decided I would do is go out and play, because I wanted to find other musicians. And so I just went out and played where the musicians were. I played at the Strawberry Music Festival. This is the Strawberry Music Festival open mic list for 2004. This was 7:10 a.m. I will point out. And if you want to see yes, I had 10 minutes. And this is the audience. This is Alex, by the way. Yeah, but actually, it was nice because the people there, the sound engineers, were like, that was actually really good. Can you come back tomorrow at 10:30? Because there might actually be people here. So I was like, oh, maybe I'm actually onto something here. So that's what I did. I went out there and I played at parties and I played at open mics and just sort of put it out. Because I got to be honest, this wasn't really working for me. There are musicians that really do well and really find power in the vulnerable solo performance. And I totally admire them. For me, it's a little too vulnerable, because I've been thinking about this, about why that is. And I think as artists, we often try to find things in our art that counterbalance our everyday life. And so if you're a nerdy kid in England in the 80s, or if you're a trans woman in America in 2025, yeah, don't exactly seek out vulnerability. So I knew that what I wanted to do was to take up space, physically, emotionally, and sonically. And I wanted to do that with ensemble. I realized early on that if I was going to do this, I needed a band. And so one of the places I played early on was a party where my friend Kristen Ramsey was sitting kind of where Shelton is right here. And I played at her several songs. I sang to the room, but I knew she was there and made sure I played my best ones. And Kristen came up afterwards and we talked, and I tried to be sort of casual, like, oh yeah, maybe we could play together sometime. And this just ended up being such a rich partnership. If you don't know Kristen, she's a singer, violin player, guitar player, keyboard player, and just brings a lot of like sonic emotional energy to an ensemble. So with Kristen on board, it was time to make my first album, because I decided if I was gonna have a band, what I didn't want to do was like be that person that hangs out in the bar like, hey, we should get a band, write some songs, make an album. So what I decided I would do is like do all that first. I'd write the songs, I'd make the album, and then I'd say like, hey, I've got the songs in an album, you want to start a band? Yeah, so that's what I did. I recorded it myself in my tiny house in El Portal, which looks like this. I tell people it was a converted garden shed, which doesn't really do justice because it was a converted garden shed with stained glass windows, y'all. It was very El Portal. It was a lovely place to live. It was a pretty good recording studio. This first album is actually a testament to the Yosemite Institute on-call system, because I shared this with Alex, and I couldn't really record when Alex was home because recording is loud and obnoxious. So when I was on call at Nature Bridge, I'd wait until 8 every day, and if I didn't get called in, great, set up all the mics, and I'd do as much recording as I could. And then I'd pack it all up again, and Alex would come home, and it was like nothing happened. And then the next day, I'd wait till 8. Great, I'm not working. Set up, record another couple of songs. On Thursday, I got called into work, like, I can't record today. So it took a while to get it together. And once I finished my parts, I went round to Kristin's house, and Kristin added some bits to it. So I think my favorite minute from this, Kristin is on this. This is actually a song that I wrote in England before I moved here. And it's called the San Francisco song. And one thing I think the thing about not knowing what I was doing on this first album really paid off, because I did this weird stuff. Like there's some like meditation chimes that are reversed and stuff on here. But anyway, this is off that first album. Sorry, it sounds way better through the speaker. Excuse me just a minute. I'm kind of uptight about things like that. Of course, if I brought my glasses, I'd actually be able to read this thing. Sound, there we go. Don't need a sound check. Who needs a sound check? And this is called the San Francisco song.
Frost on the windows, the sky is a blanket of gray. My breath hangs like soft-spoken words in the cold London air. It's early, but I couldn't sleep anyway. I'm dreaming I could be miles away. San Francisco, don't you remember my name? Lazy old river, you knew.
So it works really well. I met some really great musicians. I put this about there. One of the first people I met was Greg Nespor, who's a drummer. I was introduced to him by Lee and Eric right here. They set me up kind of on a date, sort of, what's it called, matchmaking as a drummer. And simultaneously the same night, someone else was invited as sort of a romantic matchmaking. And I don't know if that relationship ever worked out, but this one did. So 50% success rate. Well done. Greg's a really powerful drummer and just a joyful, really exuberant person. He's quite extroverted, which was perfect. I needed someone like that. Because Greg actually started the band. He ran into me in the park one day, and he was a park ranger. He had his uniform on. He's like, "Hey, we got a band practice on Tuesday." And I was like, "Oh, congratulations." He's like, "No, it's your band." I was like, "Oh, we have a band." I was like, "Where are we practicing?" He's like, "At Greg Archer's house." I talked to Greg. He's into it. He wants to play bass. Oh, great. If you don't know Greg Archer, singer, guitarist, songwriter, bass player, drummer. Again, another wonderful multi-instrumentalist with a lot of great energy. So, and Kristin, of course, was already kind of familiar with the songs and came on board. And we had our band. And this was our first show. And I got to say, as first shows go, it was really, really good. In fact, it kind of spoiled me for some upcoming shows. We were out back at the Apple Hotel Community Hall. We played all these songs. I have no idea how we learned all of this in such a short time. But we built a pretty good set together, and people had a whale of a time. See this young lady here having a whale of a time. Yeah, it was really good. And so we had the Adam Burns Band. This was our first show. We were really excited. We got a show at the Evergreen Lodge. Alex actually dropped off. Alex and I were up at the Evergreen just having lunch, and Alex dropped off an album. I'm like, no, I don't. And I got a call 2 days later saying, hey, do you want a gig? So thank you, Alex. And we ended up playing at the Evergreen Lodge quite a bit throughout Korea. I hope some of you were at these shows. They're really funny. They have this little tavern up there. It's just great. And we had a great time. And over the next year, we managed to write and record a whole other album. This is, how do I describe this music? It's kind of like sort of mountain party music. There's some funk in there. There's some clumsy reggae. Yeah, it was a good time, and it's very reflective of the kind of shows we were playing. And the minute that I'm going to play is from a song called Soulmate, where we all went round to Greg's apartment and we invited people who'd been to our shows to come and sing with us. And it came out sounding like this.
He wants a bunch of people, I think, singing the chorus. That's what he wants. Now, if you don't have to be an opera singer or anything, because according to his email, how many of you saw his email? Raise your hand. Okay, he's actually looking for, what did he say? Like a football crowd.
I was alone, no place to call my home. I was ashamed. My tears were torn and frayed. I said, God knows I paid my dues. It's such a shame when nobody knows your name. Tell your brother, tell your sister what they really mean to you before your time is through. Everybody needs a soulmate. Everybody needs a shoulder to cry on. Everybody needs a good friend. Everybody needs somebody to rely on. I was lost, like the street dog on.
Good times. And so we made this album, and then we went out and we played shows. We were living in El Portal, so this is the East Auditorium in Yosemite Valley. It was one of our regular venues. We played our first music on the green. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't, I hadn't been to Music on the Green, and I went and played our first show there. It was fantastic. We had a great night. And one of the challenges, if you've been in a band, you know, is like live sound, is making yourself sound good. We couldn't really afford to pay a sound engineer. But this guy, Mark Aldoster, we noticed him showing up at a lot of our shows. I knew he was a drummer. He also would come up in our breaks and say, hey, you might want to turn the violin up a bit. Like, he clearly knew what he was talking about. And so we're like, hey, do you want to be our sound engineer and also play percussion? So we became a 5-piece, and we added, Mark had he hates it when I say this, bongos. He played the bongos. I know they're congas, but. This is at Mountain Sage Nursery over in Groveland. It was really good having a 5-piece. That percussion really just added a lot to our sound, and we really had played some good shows at this point. And soon it became time to record again. I think this EP, there's 5 songs on here, and this was the first time I felt really confident writing the kind of music that I really listen to and the kind of music I love. Indie rock. At the time of this, I was really into the Shins, and I was into Camper Van Beethoven, and one band that I'd always really loved was the Pixies. They sound like this. Mr. Greaves. I love that song. But I always thought, wouldn't it be great if that start kind of jaunty guitar bit just went on through the whole song? So being a songwriter, I was like, all right, I was going to do it.
Boots of Spanish leather, Irish golden grace. Oh, she looks to the east at the break of day. A queen without a king. A castle on your sunrise lights the fire in my soul. Steal my breath, call my name, Barcelona in my face.
That's not stealing, right?
No.
No. It's influence. So we had a new EP. We went and played at Mill Pond Music Festival. I was really proud of our fans at this festival because I don't know if you've been to Mill Pond, you know that they have all these lawn chairs, and dancing in front of the lawn chairs is frowned upon. And our fans were like, woo! Just like totally flaunted that rule. Thanks, everybody. That was awesome. We had a great time. Okay, and so we played a lot of shows, and that just sort of like playing with that sound a lot. If you saw later Adam Burns' Band Bootstrap Circus, that was probably quite familiar to you. I was starting to get other musical ideas, and this is the first kind of sad part of the story. So I decided that Greg, although I loved his like really powerful rock drumming, Greg was not the right drummer for the music that I was writing. And so I made the decision to ask Greg to leave the band and for Mark to be the drummer. And I did it nicely and I was clear, but I kicked Greg out of the band. And that was the first time ever I put the art over a friendship. And I don't know if that was a good decision or a bad decision. There wasn't really any ill will about it, but it was a decision that I made. And so the Adam Burns Band became a 4-piece. And we looked like this. Doesn't go backwards. You saw a very brief picture of us as a 4-piece. And we started working on this album. And I think this is a good point to say that Mark wasn't just the drummer in this band. Like Mark was like a real muse for me. I wanted to write music that Mark thought was cool because I thought he was so cool. And I loved the way he played drums. He had a jazz background. And I wanted to write music that everyone in the band was just really excited about. So that's kind of what this album sounds like. It's sort of my attempts to be jazzy in places, which I'll let you decide if that was successful or not. But the 4 of us went to Mark's house, which is up in North Fork. And this is what it looked like. Right when we arrived, there was a massive snowstorm and we were stuck there for 5 days. And so I'm going to show you, because one of our bandmates, Kristen, was the National Park videographer, she's really good at documenting this process. And I think what she's captured in this short video I'm going to show you is the tediousness and the joy of recording. And if you don't know about multi-track recording, I'm not going to get too into it, but basically you kind of do the bass and the drums first with a guide guitar and vocal track, and then you read all the guitars with that in your headphones, and then you add the violin, and then you do the vocals. And we ended up recording the vocals after dinner at like 10 o'clock at night. And so that's what you're seeing in this video. Kristen's not in the video, and that makes me sad because she was such a big part of this. But thank you, Kristen, for documenting this process because it's kind of funny. rock the heater. No. Don't rock the heater. Don't rock the heater. La 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 la. We found our notes. We got our notes. Don't rock the heater. Don't rock the heater. Oh, man. Cover art for this album was by a local artist called Nicole Bennett. And by the way, the cover art for Freedom was by Alex, a mixed media art by Alex Vance. So that was our life for a week, just trying to get this done. We could only take a week off work. And because of that process, my favorite minute from this album is actually a happy accident, because Kristen had recorded a violin part. She didn't really like it. So she went away in another room to warm up, but we could hear her through her microphone, but she couldn't hear us. And we were playing the track back, but she was out of sync with it. So she was unintentionally harmonizing with herself. And I distinctly remember I jumped out of my chair and ran in, like, write down what you just did. It was great. So what we did was we ended up spending many hours duplicating Kristen for the end of a song called Sunsets and Shooting Stars. And it turned out sounding like this. What's better than one Kristen Ramsey? 3 Kristen Ramseys. Yeah, it was great. And we could never do that live, of course, because we only had one Kristen. And I think that's something that the studio for me is like the next instrument. I love things like that, where you can just you can create these things that were impossible, but you can do them. So that was Painted Face. And we had an album. Honey, we've already listened to you. We had an album release party that has already been alluded to this evening. Arne Friedland joined us for this one. Okay, so if you're in a band and you know you have that little dirty table at the side of the stage where you sell your CDs and T-shirts. This is how you sell CDs. We sold a lot of them, and we got some really great shows around this time too. This is the Concession in Yosemite. I don't think they do this anymore, but well, I don't know about that, so let's erase that. This is upstairs at Degman's. Yeah, they used to have these great employee parties, and they used to hire us and also a lighting engineer. Yeah, good times. Okay, I never really loved the name the Adam Burns Band. It just felt kind of stodgy and boring to me. So we had a campaign to come up with a new name. We got some suggestions from people. We sat around as a band for hours talking about it. And eventually we were like, fine. I like the name Bootstrap Circus, I do. But I think by the time we chose it, we were so sick of thinking of band names that I kind of have mixed feelings about it. Anyway, we changed our name to Bootstrap Circus. I put this picture on Facebook. I was gonna put this picture on Facebook. Oh, that was very brief. But for some reason, decided not to. And we had a coming out party, and we decided that we wanted our new name show to be kind of like this. Actually, we wanted people to sit and actually listen to what we were doing, because we felt like when we played shows, it was great and it was fun and there was drinking and dancing and yelling. But we were like, guys, we have something to say. So we booked the 6th Street Cinema after it had ceased to be a cinema anymore. And we did our show there. And this was one of my favorite shows we ever did. We could really hear ourselves well. I think we played really well. I remember we did a cover of This Must Be the Place by Talking Heads. At the end of it, you could hear a pin drop. It was just beautiful. Really just a special performance experience, which unfortunately nobody recorded. So we did that for a while, and then we're like, well, we got a new name, we should make a new album. And so we started work on The Elegant Life. And I really wanted this time to do something different. That recording process of doing one track at a time was fun but tedious, and I didn't feel like it really captured what we were doing as a band. So we needed a space where we could just set up live and play and it would sound good. And we'd had such a good time at 6th Street Cinema. We called the person taking care of it and said, can we make an album in 6th Street Cinema? And he said, yes, but I only have the keys for 3 more days. So we took all of ourselves to 6th Street Cinema and we turned it into a recording studio of sorts. So we set up the drums and the bass over there, and there was Mark and Greg at their little station. And then I was on the other side of the room.
Batteries might be dying. I don't know.
I was on the other side of the room. My amplifiers were in a closet, and Kristen was in another closet. Because the thing about the violin is it's super loud. So if there's a violin player in the room with you, you're hearing the violin. And there was a bit of downtime while other people were getting their stuff set up. Very serious. There were lots of like cinema-related accoutrements in there still, which we had a good time with. We don't need to look at that. And so the result was this album, The Elegant Life. And this one, I feel like this really captured what we were all about as Bootstrap Circus. I'm proud of this. I told you I would tell you when I was proud. I'm quite proud of this. I'm proud of the words on this album. I spent a lot of time working on lyrics for this album. However, I was trying to make like a socio-political statement about the absurdity of traditional gender roles. And in doing that, I often assumed the role of the oppressor. So if you look at this through the lens of a slightly sarcastic trans woman, it really works. Without that context, I just kind of sound like a dick. And so, so please bear that in mind when you're listening to this. I was always surprised people didn't like it more, but then I'm like, you know what? This album came from the band that a few years ago were going, everybody needs a soulmate. So it maybe wasn't a big surprise. The Sixth Street Cinema thing kind of worked. We actually ended up re-recording a lot of stuff because it was just really hard for us all to be satisfied with a particular performance. But this song, it's called Mad, I'm just going to play you part of, was all recorded live in the cinema. And this is a song about gay conversion therapy, where I play the role of the nurse checking in the victim. It's a barrel of laughs, y'all.
Well, we're so glad you made it. We've all been here waiting for you. Won't you put up your feet, guys? We've saved you a seat with a view. And there's no finer place to get slapped in the face, and you're right at the front of the queue. Now we just have a few little questions. There's no right or wrong, good or bad. But the more you maintain and show perfectly sane, the more we'll be sure that you're mad. We regret to inform you, the outlook before you is grim.
I designed the cover of this album. I actually sat working on this on my computer while Mark was mixing it. It features a crow dressed in fancy clothes. There's a song called The Blackbird on here, which is about a woman who liberates herself from an oppressive male oppressor, goes into the woods, masturbates, and turns into a raven. It's a tale as old as time, but very relatable to a certain part of the population. Where my raven girls at? Yeah. That was The Elegant Life. And yeah, we really had a good time with this. Whoa! And that's the end of the talk. Okay, this is whack. Oh, spoilers of bongo. Okay, anyway, we decided that because this music kind of sounded like creepy and sort of cabaret-ish, we would have a cabaret for our CD release party. So here's honor. In fact, this is the first time we really hung out, I think, was when you were on stage at our party and doing, what are you doing here?
Yeah, yoga dance.
Yoga dance, okay, yeah. So Anna did that, and I made a mind reading machine, and I put things on people's heads, and it played out of a speaker what was going on in their brain. It was hilarious, and we had a whale of a time. And we also played a show. We basically just played our album that night, and really had a good time. This is at the Yosemite Bug Hostel. You probably recognize. Nice night. Lots of eyeliner. We played music on the Green that summer, and it just felt great to like take this like made in Mariposa album and just take it out in our community. Yeah, sure you've been out there on these extremely hot evenings. This was probably my favorite Bootstrap Circus show. We closed down 7th Street. I don't know if we asked permission or what, but we did it. And we set up on the porch of, was the River Rock Inn that's now Styx, and we just played to the street. Really good time. Around this time, Alex and I moved to town, and we got this house that was lovely. And in the basement, it had this room that was just kind of nasty looking. But I saw it and was like, that's a music studio. And it needed quite a lot of work to really make it sound good. But this was not only a great practice space for Bootstrap Circus, it meant that Alex and I had a studio in our basement. And so we were down there one day and I was kind of messing around and Alex came down and picked up a bass guitar. And what do you know, it sounded really good. So we started playing around with that, and thus was born Little Tiger, because we needed a name for our band. And we started like looking like a band, which was kind of cool, fun for us. Thank you, Kara Goga, for coming taking band photos of your two friends. And yeah, oh, thank you, I got a new one. And we were wondering what to call it, and we looked at our friend Maceo, who was sat on the rug in front of the fire, and we're like, Little Tiger. We already called him Little Tiger, so there he is. So we got a band name and a mascot, and we made pin badges with his face on. And this was our first show. We opened for this band called Bootstrap Circus. They were really nice. They let us open for them. That's at the Alley. And yeah, we had a great time. Things did not go so well at this time in Bootstrap Circus. In fact, in the world in general. It was the year 2016, and there were just some big changes in the world. And when that happens, we all just start to ask ourselves, like, what am I actually doing here? Like, is this my life? Is there other possibilities out there? And so we were all feeling pretty contemplative. And Mark and his wife, Anya, decided they didn't want to live in California anymore. So they got in their mobile home and they drove across the country looking for a new home. And they eventually ended up moving to Oregon. There was some suggestion like, well, you just get a new drummer, right? But if you've been paying attention, you'll know that just getting a new drummer was not going to cut it for Bootstrap Circus. So that was the end of Bootstrap Circus. And I got to tell you, I was heartbroken. I felt like I tied a lot of my identity to this band. I put a lot of emotional energy into it. These are my best friends. I love them. I spent most weekends with them. I actually didn't want to play guitar anymore, which is kind of a weird emotion for me to be resistant to guitar. So I sort of poured my energy into playing the drums and other things. And thankfully, we had Little Tiger, and I had this place to put creative energy. We'd already written some songs together, but this was, I think, when we're like, all right, let's do this. Let's like really go for it. So in 2018, Little Tiger recorded our first album called Miscommunication. This Christmas, or the Christmas before, Alex and I always buy each other a book and a record for Christmas. And the year before, we both bought each other Rebel Girl by Bikini Kill without knowing it. And that kind of third wave feminism, Pacific Northwest punk scene really fed into this album. The cover art is by Alex's dad, Ari Vance. It was taken a couple of years ago. And there's Alex on the telephone. And it sounded something like this. This is the radio edit, by the way, so a couple of bits missing from this. I got a scooch. Oh, I got a scooch again. I think I went the wrong way. Oh, here we go. Yes.
keep it in. I just wanna fit in. I'm a good fit, but you say I gotta prove it. I'm a good fit, not for all that hot back, nip and tuck. I don't really give a. I'm a good fit, but you say I gotta prove it. I'm a good fit, not for all that.
So it wasn't all dour. There was some fun in there. Yeah, and so Little Tiger started playing shows. We only had a few songs, so we needed an opening act. And so I decided I can do an opening act. And around about this time, my friend Johnny came over with this record. And if you haven't heard of this record label or this compilation, this is a DJ from New York, and she's compiled all these like bedroom recordings of synthesizer music from Europe in the early 80s. It's kind of niche, but I loved it. And I was like, I can do that. So I started a minimal wave act called Burnsy, which was me being very serious, as you can see, and trying to be as kraut-rocky as I could, very serious, and lots of synthesizers, and whoops, not quite so serious, and sometimes it just really went off the rails, but anyway. And so I ended up making an album. This is available on SoundCloud, and I recorded some stuff, and my favorite part is the synth breakdown from this song. It's called Boys and Girls, another song about gender, and it sounds like this.
Did you think it would be easy? Did you think that you could dance your scars? Did you want some lights out? Or just did you might have gone too far? Did you recognize me? Did you think that you were on the road? Did you try to wash the stains out? Did you think you were the only one? Lost bars and real guns, step out into the light. Don't you know it's a cool, cool world, but you got time on your side. Lost bars and real guns, hold your hands up high. Don't you know it's a cool, cool world, but you got time on your side.
So that was what Burnsy sounded like. And so we played some shows together. This is my attempt on the poster to describe what we were trying to do. The wordiest poster I ever made. And when I played this stuff live, it became clear like this was actually quite difficult for me to do all this on my own because I had all these machines. And so I recruited Alex to add some synthesizers and help me out. And so we would open for Little Tiger, and then we'd basically be the same people in a totally different band. It was very cost effective this time. It was cost effective, but it was gear intense. And all the pictures that I could find of Burnsy performing live, we would sort of look at each other like, what the hell is going on? It's like, you know, when you're trying to set up the stereo and you're like, honey, where did you put that cable with the... That's what our shows were like. And when I'm performing live, I like to be in a flow state of like just letting the music come through me. And this was the opposite of that. I was thinking so hard, like, oh, I didn't press that thing, I didn't turn that thing. So I was pleased with what I'd recorded, but I was like, I gotta start playing guitar again so that I can just get back in an instrument that I can actually play. So I started playing some guitar, and I decided, screw it, I'm just going to make an album where I play all the instruments. We had a whole bunch of songs that we'd been working on with Bootstrap Circus that were kind of new wavy kind of stuff. They kind of sounded like the Cars and the Police, Elvis Costello, Television, that kind of thing. We never recorded them. And so this album is a combination of those sort of Bootstrap Circus leftovers and the Burnsy songs transcribed for guitar. And as well as an album, I also came up with a one-person show that I did at the Fresno Rogue Festival called Exhibitions of the Malcontent, and it was all about DIY music and making tapes and cool stuff you do in your basement. This was me playing at my one-person show. The last show of that series was on March 12th, 2020. And if you were there, you remember what happened on March 12th, 2020. I was staying at a friend's house who lived in Fresno, and I woke up. And you know when you hear the news on the TV and you're like, oh, that doesn't sound good. That does not sound good at all. The newscasters have that like kind of feel to them. And so at this last show that I played, someone actually came up to shake my hand afterwards. And I was like, I don't know if we should be doing that. Like this COVID thing seems like it's going to be a big deal. And he got mad at me. He's like, oh, whatever. This is going to blow over in a couple of days. Well, it didn't. And so the whole idea, not the whole idea, but one of the things from Exhibitions of the Malcontent is I wanted to make like a full band album myself to attract musicians to start a band again. And starting a band was just clearly not going to happen for a while. But if you're stuck at home, what do? You make music videos, right? So this is what Alex and I got into. This is a song of Exhibitions of the Malcontent. The title of this song came from a phrase that Alex said while we were house hunting. And this song is called I'm Not Ready for Suburbia. And it sounds thus.
I'm not ready for the ladies holding hands and making babies. Where do you go when you know you just gotta be alone? Coffee and sanitizers, stimulants and tranquilizers. Everyone knows what lies at the end of that road. So hold on to the reins, face the storm and bright days. Don't you ever try to hide your teeth in cars. Write your own refrain, take your clothes off in the rain. Light a cigarette and watch you gotta go.
That dress came from Anna Friedland. I owe a lot to you, Anna. A drag act, obviously. And I'm not a drag performer. In fact, this was the first and the only time I've done a drag performance. Drag is a powerful art form. And we know it's a powerful art form because people keep trying to ban it. And drag for me was the stick of dynamite that I needed to break down the wall that I built around my femininity. And that was the power of drag for me, because at the end of that video took 8 hours to film and 8 hours to edit. I spent a lot of time on this. At the end of filming, I was sweaty and hungry and needed a beer, but I didn't want to take the dress off. And that was that, as they say. I hope for each and every one of you that you get a moment every day of unbridled self-expression. If that's like dancing to a favorite song or singing in the car or just walking down Main Street in your favorite dress, that's a human right. And if we all take time for those moments, I think that would really make the world a better place. Mm-hmm. So, with me playing guitar again, I was like, you know what, this guitar thing's maybe not so bad. And Alex took piano lessons in 5th grade. It was a while ago, but they really remembered what to do. So, this is what we friendlily between us call Little Tiger 2.0, where I decided, you know, why don't I just play an instrument that I can actually play, and Alex play keys, and we decided to try that instrumentation, and it really helped because now we had flow. We were actually comfortable, and we started like getting really inspired and making a lot of new music. We also bought a mirror ball, which really helped, and that really guided us on this next step. We recorded an album, which I just skipped past. It's right here. It's called Strangers in This Land, and this cover art. This is actually my friend Kara Gogo. Here, took a picture of herself, and we thought it was so cool. We made it into an album art. A lot of moments that I love on this album, but this is one of my favorites. This is a song called Between Your Ears.
My ships across the room, storm busy clouds blow. Some have remembered song, one that no right no wrong. Willing to take some time, so that you can begin again. I'm shut against the dawn, but you realize not hard. Exits on every side, cross and the child to you and I. Boys, friends are gathered, then that is. You found a secret between your
Strangers in This Land. And we had an album release party, which was really fun, at the Grove House. We got Johnny to come DJ with us. Looked like that. And oh yeah, we're out at this point. This was us playing at, can you tell? This is us playing at Pride Fest in Merced. We also had the privilege of playing their raising of the Pride flag in downtown Merced. That was a really, really lovely event. Some friends came down from Mariposa to join us for that. Played music on the green, which is always lovely. I like this picture, I gotta admit it. And my friend Alicia today brought me this mug where she put my picture on it, and she got Ava on the other side. Thanks, Alicia. Thanks, Alicia. I think you were watching, actually. Thank you. And so with this setup, we played a few shows, and we're almost up to the present day here. So one of the having this basement has been really great. It's a good place for us to practice. We bought neon because we bought neon, and one of the things I like to do is just go down there and just play, obviously. And I have this lyric writing technique that I call step up to the mic, and it goes something like this. Oh, you record the music, and then you step up to the mic and you just sing the first thing that comes into your head. And it's surprisingly good at coming up with words. But I was down there and I'd come up with a synth riff and this bass line. I didn't have a mic set up, so I just kind of whispered into the computer like, don't turn around, call the night in, call the night in. And I ran upstairs to the kitchen. I was like, Alex, come listen to this. I think it's really good. And they came down and they listened to it. And they were like, that's great. What are you singing? I'm like, oh, it's nothing. It was garbage. I was like, call the night in or something. And Alex like, call the night in? That's great. I love that. And so Alex then went and wrote some verses. And we ended up with Call the Night In. And we wrote a couple of other songs that week. And this is our most recent EP that we put out in October last year. And this is Call the Night In.
stars fall on your skin.
This album art is by a trans artist from Raymond called Arian Reed. He has some great stuff on his website that you can find from our website. Does a lot of portraits. And we kind of nervously asked him if we could use his work for our album. He said yes. So that's who the cover art is. All right. So there we go. There was some work went into this, but most of all, there was a lot of play. And thank you, Anna, for the opportunity to look through this and just think about just what the last 20 years have been like for me. This was really a gift, and thank you all for being here tonight. This is really fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
How are we doing for minutes?
Oh yeah, 6:43. So.
You're gonna kick me out?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to. If people have questions, I don't want to prohibit that.
So, I have any questions? Yeah.
What's next?
I have no idea. I mean, it's kind of difficult to predict, right? I don't know, but I'm definitely, I do a lot of playing. I've actually had to start getting up early to get the play in before I go to work, because I have a real job now. I like to go every day and do stuff. Well,
Was there an album that you hadn't listened to in years? Like, I'm just curious, this process of having to go back and listen to your own music, it's probably not something you do frequently. So
I get up and put my own music on.
So yes, emotionally, like you kind of talked about it a little bit, but was there one you really just hadn't touched?
Yes, there was. Yeah, thanks for asking. Well, so these two actually, Sitting on the Step and Leica, I kind of convinced myself that they were the turkeys that I just had to get through to get good at this. But I listened to them and I was like, there's some stuff on here that's actually pretty good. That was really nice. So what I actually did with these two is I remastered them, which basically just means polishing them up a bit, making them a bit louder. And these two are now on Bandcamp. Someone emailed me a couple of years ago and they're like, I had this CD and it was yellow and it had some people on. And I was like, I had to go and resurrect 2 old computers to find the files for this. And I finally resurrected it. So all of this music is on Bandcamp. These albums, if you go to adamburns.net, my old website, you can find links to all this. In fact, I think they're all on bootstrapcircus.com as well. And then I think from here on, they're on Apple Music and Spotify and all that stuff. Yeah. But going back to these was a trip. It was just like different person. Yeah.
Do you have any musical inspirations? Other artists that you derive?
Lots. I don't really have like a favorite band or anything. I really like, Alex and I go to a lot of festivals because we just love being bombarded with stuff we've never heard before. And I listen to Radio 6 a lot, which is like one of the BBC channels, because they have honest to goodness DJs that actually choose music and play it for you. And it's great. Because I feel like algorithms just give me stuff that sounds like what I like. And that's not what I want. I want you to play me something cool. Like, I don't want to play something I already know. Like, what do you think is cool? And so I listen to Radio 6 and listen to all kinds of things. Sorry, I totally dodged that question. I can't think of it. Oh, I love Nation of Language right now. And I love Sophie. And I love Gossip. I was going to the library to the high school today to do the Poetry Out Loud contest. And at the beginning of that, we have to introduce ourselves with a poem that we love. So I picked out my poem and I tried to memorize it. And I walked up there and I was listening to Salt and Pepper. And so my poem that I loved was None of Your Business, Salt and Pepper. Yeah. Went down quite well, actually. Yeah.
So you just alluded to something I think is part of the Arts Council. You get to play. I mean, do you consider your work also play?
Yeah, I get to do a lot of music education. Mm-hmm. And so, facilitating others play is a big part of that. But I get to, the way I teach really is because I love ensembles, is I don't let people play on their own. So a lot of the people I teach, I'm like, yeah, right. I'm like, that's great. I'm going to jump on the drums while you play that guitar. They're like, oh, you want to play the drums? Go. I'm going to play bass with you. So yeah, I play music a lot, and I play with some very playful people. Yeah.
So this is a little off topic, I guess, but I remember playing one day at the at Bryceburg, looking at benthic invertebrates.
Oh yeah.
And I had the most wonderful time.
Cool.
And I'm just wondering if that person still exists.
Benthic, right? Yes. Yeah. I mean, I still remember what they are, and I love playing around in the river. And I think there's only so much that a brain can take. If you don't know what you're referring to, is like kind of the more sciencey side of my personality.
It was playful science too.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
We definitely have a quote from that day.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
From me?
Yeah.
Okay, bring it.
So one of the kids that something about
I think you're referring to a time when you might have been teaching.
It might have been a different day, but it was at Bryceburg with macroinvertebrates.
Okay.
And the kid referred to you as Mr. Poopy Pants, and you say, hey, I have a PhD.
Mm-hmm.
You will refer to me as Dr. Poopy Pants.
The sass was strong. Yeah.
So how can we listen? I mean, you talked about this, but there's Bandcamp, and there's Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
Where should we listen?
Right. Depends how much you like me, really. So Spotify and Apple Music are, as you know, kind of monopoly industry standard way to listen to music. That's how I listen to music a lot of the time. They do not pay artists when you play music on there. And I think a lot of people don't know that. They're like, I listened to your album. Like, did you know? And I'm like, no, that money went to CEOs, and that money went to a large corporation. The way it works is that they collect a lot of money from subscriptions. And then when someone like Lady Gaga releases an album, they give her like $10 million to be on Apple Music. If you're an independent artist, you can get your music distributed on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. You do not get any money for that, or you get a very small amount of money. So Bandcamp actually became really popular during the pandemic, because on Bandcamp, you can stream it 3 times, and then this little heart comes up like, hey, you want to send Ava some money for this music you're listening to? It just so happens, and we didn't plan this, but I do have a little video about it. Can I just show you that? It's like a minute long because it went on Instagram.
Hey, this is Ava from Little Tiger, and this Friday, October 25th, our new EP called United is going to be streaming wherever you get your music. However, I'm here to let you know that for the price of a cup of coffee, you can get it right now on Bandcamp. Just click the link in our bio or go to littletiger.band. Bandcamp is an online record store and music community where passionate fans like you can discover, connect with, and support the artists they love. The best part is that when you buy our music on Bandcamp, your money goes directly to the artist. So we can go to Sticks, you get a cup of coffee.
Yeah, so Bandcamp's great. And actually, if you go to any of the music websites I have, the little players that I have on there are all Bandcamp players. So you can click it and you can buy the albums. Making CDs used to be a big thing for Bootstrap Circus. It's really expensive, it's tedious. And honestly, a lot of places that we play with Little Tiger, people don't know what a CD is. They're like, that's a nice coaster that you bought. Yeah. Thanks for asking. Yeah, Fred.
So how do you make money with what you do?
I don't. I work at the Arts Council.
No, you know what I mean. You have some great songs and all that. Is there some other way that you can get those out there?
Honestly, for independent musicians, like touring and playing live is really the only way to generate revenue at this point. And the upside of that is like you know, the bands that can really play are like doing well, but touring is really hard on your body.
Yeah.
That sounds dramatic, but most of the touring bands I talk to, if they've been on tour for a couple of months, they don't look so good. They're eating like, you know, fast food, they're sleeping on friends' floors. Because you think if you get paid a couple $100s to play a show, you can either spend that all on a hotel and dinner and make nothing, or you can sleep on someone's floor and eat some cheap fast food. So, yeah, it is not easy to make money if your sole thing is being an independent musician.
I enjoyed it when you were teaching. That was great.
Thank you. I enjoyed teaching you.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, and I forgot to mention that there's some books that Ava has selected. You can check those out. We can mingle for a little bit, but I think we, yeah.
It's fine. We'll stay a little later.
You'll stay a little later.
Yay,
Okay, great. Yeah.
yay.
All right. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.